Russian military personnel are being targeted by drones. A Russian combatant successfully captured the drone that was stalking him by hand. Russian fighters were caught off guard by artillery fire. Transports have been disabled. A HIMARS offensive, an incursion with an FPV drone. A military member was detected while installing mines. A suicide offensive. Combatants were ambushed. More information will be available shortly. July 19, 2025. 2 Russian military members were targeted by a drone from Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade in the Luhansk area. The Russian fighters attempted to elude a pursuing FPV kamikaze drone. They employed a variety of tactics to neutralize the drone, throwing wooden objects and opening fire on it. They made a significant effort to bring it down. Despite their attempts, they were unsuccessful. Ultimately, one of the soldiers hurled his rifle at the drone, causing it to detonate. One Russian combatant lost his life, while his comrade managed to survive. Ukraine's 414th Attack Drone Brigade located a Russian fighter sheltered within a demolished structure in the Kharkiv area. Drone attacks were carried out on the building. Following the offensive, the Russian fighter, in a state of panic, believed he would be safer outside, but a kamikaze drone was harassing him. The soldiers sought refuge at the corner of the structure. The FPV kamikaze headed directly for the Russian combatant. You can show your support with a like and a comment on the video. July 18, 2025. A fiber optic FPV drone from the Ukrainian Signum Battalion targeted a Russian soldier on a motorcycle who was advancing toward Lyman. The combatant did not notice the drone's presence. The Russian soldier sustained serious injuries from the drone and was transported to a secure location by other fighters. A Russian soldier was targeted by a Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone north of the Arkhangelsk settlement in the Donetsk region. A drone was harassing a Russian combatant on the road. The Russian soldier, attempting to evade the drone's attack with various maneuvers, managed to grab the pursuing drone and kept it held in his hand. The fighter, who carried the explosive-laden drone for a moment, continued his flight for several minutes. The exhausted soldier made a fatal error. As he bent over to catch his breath, the drone made contact with the ground, and the explosive carried by the kamikaze drone detonated. July 19, 2025. A Russian soldier was attempting to install a mine near an anti-tank trench. An FPV pilot from Ukraine's 38th Naval Infantry Brigade launched an expedited attack against the soldier. The drone's incursion caused the combatant to fall into the trench. A Russian soldier was assaulted by a drone from the 425th Separate Assault Regiment Scarlet inside a ruined home. The combatant, who was unharmed by the first assault, fought to neutralize the drone. But a second kamikaze drone offensive wounded him. He then immediately took refuge in a small hut. The FPV kamikaze drone, seeking its target one last time, delivered the final blow. The position of Ukrainian soldiers was attacked by a Russian-made Garand drone. This is confirmed. The drone narrowly missed its target, striking just a few meters from the Ukrainian positions. 2 Ukrainian soldiers sustained injuries. July 16, 2025. Ukrainian underwater fiber optic FPV drones annihilated a Russian crossing bridge heading toward Kupiansk. Russian soldiers had assembled a structure to traverse the collapsed bridge, but it was left completely unusable. A Russian combatant was resting beneath a tree when he was surprised by a Ukrainian FPV drone. However, the drone did not detonate. Upon getting up, the Russian soldier collected the aerial device, took it over to a tree, and proceeded to shoot at it. What was his intention? The soldier persisted in shooting the drone against the tree for a considerable time, but the device would not detonate. He attempted to put it out of service, but in the end, he threw the drone away and continued on his way. July 17, 2025. The presence of a Tor missile system was detected in the Kursk area. Ukrainian units promptly deployed a kamikaze FPV drone. The Russian anti-aircraft defense system attempted to shoot down the unmanned aerial vehicle on 2 occasions without success. The equipment was annihilated. Ukrainian units conducted an ambush on Russian military logistical corridors using drones. FPV drone operators located the ammunition transport routes and proceeded with an offensive. Although the road was protected with wire fencing to impede drones, the transports were annihilated by low-altitude flight. July 17, 2025. Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade located 4 Russian BMP-2 vehicles unable to overcome a trench in the Luhansk area. The transports were immobilized in the area with no room to maneuver. FPV drones immediately dropped explosives on the Russian armored transports. All of the Russian armored vehicles were neutralized in the drone offensive, which lasted about an hour. There were no survivors among the Russian troops. 2 Russian armored transports, spotted by the 12th Special Forces Brigade Azov, were advancing to assault Ukrainian defensive positions. FPV drones immediately came into play. The transport carrying the Russian soldiers received the first impact. As a result of the damage, the Russian fighters evacuated the vehicle and scattered across the open field. The other transport retreated, leaving the soldiers behind. The Type 75 MLRs, operated by North Korean soldiers, was neutralized by fiber-optic FPVs controlled by fighters from Ukraine's 429th UAS Regiment Achilles. Multiple rocket launcher systems were distributed in different locations at 4 kilometers intervals. They were eliminated one by one. The entire operation took just 1 hour. A Ukrainian FGM-148 Javelin anti-tank missile struck a Russian infantry fighting vehicle. The transport and its occupants were taken out of action by the initial hit. July 17, 2025. A Falcon unit from the Ukrainian Hard Border Guard Brigade assaulted Russian troops and military equipment with drones and coordinated artillery fire against Russian enclaves. A large number of Russian soldiers perished. The Ukrainian Police Special Operations Unit, KORD, employed Wild Hornets FPV drones to assault Russian infantry and fortified shelters in the Tourette's direction. The high-explosive drones eliminated all of the bunkers. A Ukrainian T-64 tank hit and neutralized a Russian T-72. The ammunition in the struck Russian tank triggered a massive detonation. Ukraine's 68th Jaeger Brigade targeted logistical corridors and infantry on the roads toward Pokrovsk. Numerous Russian soldiers were detected by drones while moving alone along the front lines. A Russian soldier attempting to cross a ditch designed to stop Russian tanks became the target of a drone and fell into it. Russian soldiers in a military transport failed to notice the drone shadowing them. The soldier on top of the vehicle became the drone's target. Other soldiers who dismounted after the attack met the same fate. Evading a drone is an extremely difficult task. Throughout the conflict, Russian fighters suffered a considerable lack of food, ammunition, and reinforcements. This was a result of the incessant drone incursions by Ukrainian forces on logistical corridors. Ukraine's 63rd Separate Mechanized Brigade executed a series of offensives with FPV kamikaze drones aimed at Russian infantry positions. The offensives occurred along various stretches of the battle line and were primarily focused on unprotected Russian soldiers operating in open terrain or near makeshift defensive points. Using real-time drone surveillance, Ukrainian operators located and tracked the movement of Russian soldiers before dispatching first-person view drones armed with explosive payloads. These drones were guided with great accuracy, allowing them to directly engage individual targets with minimal collateral damage. As of now, no official casualty figures have been released, but graphic evidence corroborates numerous effective strikes on individual targets. Ukrainian forces have increased their focus on annihilating Russian artillery positions along the front line. In recent actions, precision FPV drone offensives have successfully targeted various Russian howitzers, self-propelled guns, and fortified artillery emplacements. These high-value assets, frequently hidden behind tree lines or in camouflage positions, were rendered inoperative with surgical accuracy. By suppressing artillery systems, a crucial element of Russian firepower, Ukraine significantly diminishes the danger to its defensive lines and infantry positions. Drone footage shows direct hits on entrenched howitzers, command centers, and mobile artillery vehicles, rendering several fire units inoperable. In addition to artillery, Ukrainian drone and artillery units persist in their attacks on Russian logistical hubs, fuel convoys, and supply routes. To halt Russia's relentless advance, Ukrainian forces are intensifying their offensives on crucial logistical corridors, fuel convoys, ammunition transports, and field command posts. Employing FPV kamikaze drones, precision artillery, and HIMARS systems, Ukraine aims to strike the backbone of the Russian supply network, seeking to disrupt transportation, slow unit movement, and impede frontline resupply efforts.